In this episode, I show you how I baste and quilt my patchwork. Hi everyone, I hope you have been well. My name is Sini and welcome to my studio. In this episode, I'm going to show you how I baste and quilt my patchwork. This is the third part of this series, so if you haven't seen the previous episodes, please check them out. So without further ado, let's get right into basting and quilting. So for the next part, I need my quilt top, which I have made in a previous episode of this project. If you haven't seen my tutorials, please check them out. Then I need the backing fabric. I need the batting, which is this heavy fabric. I need a whole load of safety pins. The bigger sizes are better, they're easy to use. So I would go for the large or medium size safety pins. I need a thread that matches my fabric, which I want to quilt with. So I have chosen the same color as my backing. And then I need a walking foot for the sewing machine, which is used for the quilting. Then I also need scissors for cutting and some masking tape to hold the fabrics down. So I'm doing the basting now. So what is basting? Basting is the way to hold all the three layers of fabric together while you quilt. So I'm going to show you pin basting this time. There's other ways to baste as well, but pin basting is probably the easiest way to baste. I'm using the floor to baste because my quilt is too big for the table. So I have cut all my fabrics in size. The backing has to be 4 inches wider than the quilt top all the way around. And same with the batting. Batting has to be the same size as the backing. So first I start by taping the backing down. So the fabric has to be straight and ironed, and I need to make sure there aren't any creases or bubbles on the backing fabric. Everything must be straight. Then I secure the fabric to the floor with the masking tape. I put the tape all around the fabric, and I need to make sure that the fabric is nice and taut everywhere. When my backing is taped securely to the floor, I add my batting layer. It also has to be straight with no creases. After that, I'll add my patchwork quilt top on the top of the batting, and I have to make sure this is laying straight and doesn't have any creases. Next, I take the safety pins. I have to put the pins through all the layers of the fabric. I put a pin on each square of the patchwork, so all my layers will be basted securely on top of each other. After I have put all the safety pins in, I can remove the masking tape from the floor and from the fabric. Now I'm going to start with the quilting, and I need a walking foot, which is like this. And this makes it much easier to sew through layers. So it can be used for other things as well than quilting, but for quilting it's very good. So I'm going to install this, and then I need my thread that matches my quilt. I'm using the same color as the bottom of my quilt. So I have installed my walking foot. I start sewing from the middle of the quilt. This is to just prevent the quilt to distorting. If you start from one side, the quilt might distort on the way, so it's better to start from the middle. So I use the edge of my foot as a guide where to sew. So I just place the foot right on the edge here, and I go one way, and then I turn and go the other way. And I start sewing from the outside of my quilt top. Oh yes, and my stitch is on 3 lengths, so it's a bit larger stitch, and I did change a fresh needle on my sewing machine as well before I started. So now I have come to the end of the row, and I turn by going over the quilt top to the backing area and then turning around. And then I just continue the other way. So now I have come to the end of the row, and I'm going to finish it off by going outside of my quilt top again, and then I'm going to move to the next seam. So I'm going to work this in the squares, so I'm quilting every seam of the square. So first I'm going to do it this one way, and then I'm going to do the quilting the other way. So I am quilting both columns and the rows. When I have finished quilting my patchwork one way, I can take off the safety pins because the stitches will hold the quilt together. And then I continue, I will do the quilting the other way, so I will be quilting this direction. I'm going to do the quilting the other way, so I've already stitched this way, so I'm going to be doing this way of the squares. So I do exactly the same I was doing before, and I start from the middle and work outwards. Please like my video if you liked it and you learned something new. And please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out the last part of this quilting project. You can check out the previous episodes of this project here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for the final part of this patchwork quilting project. Bye!